Hello everybody. I want to talk a little bit about the when, why, and how of the sitting trot in dressage. The sitting trot is one of those things where, especially if you have a horse that is a little bit of a bigger mover, warm blood, or, the thoroughbred, some of the Iberian horses too, you kind of have to really engage muscles that you normally wouldn't engage in any other situation in your life. And it's about the core muscles, it's about your stomach, your back, it's the legs, the arms, everything. I mean, your upper torso has to become, pretty much a cabinet, as I always say. And, once you have those pieces in place, then you have to think about, okay, so why are we even sitting the trot? And the why to me is so that we can follow the horse's motion, which is our first task in all three gaits. Follow the horse's motion the best we can, become one with the horse, and then we start to influence. And once you are able to, distinguish between the subtleties of how you can influence your horse in the sitting trot, a lot of different doors will open to you and the horse will become more accessible to you, and the rideability, the level of, compliance and willingness and joyfulness in the horse will rise, when you're riding. And so the why is, sort of a kind of a philosophical thing, but it's also very real and very physical. The when is another aspect of, discussion a lot of times. A lot of people say, ride your horse in the walk, and then you go into posting trot, and then when you're done with that, you can go into your working phase of your session. And I always think, yes, that may be true for the most part. If you're paying attention and if your horse is trained to ride or to be ridden in a positive tension, in a posting trot that is helpful, where they're not just running around the arena just so that the aerobic part gets sort of taken care of, or they're kind of moseying around because they have to have a little bit more time to warm up their joints and their whole muscles and their tendons and everything. But I think that to me, it's actually more useful to come from, 15 minutes of long rein walk, however that may look like, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes of lateral walk work. And by that time, your horse's tendons and muscles and respiratory system are, sufficiently warmed up and oxygenated that you can go into a few steps of sitting trot. And to me, that is a better way of warming yourself and your horse up in that gait, where you can start to feel the horse's back, and you can both, just for I always say 6 to 8 steps. If you were in a circle here, I'm going to do this for a moment with you if you're watching, here's the sitting trot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, I talk and walk at the same time. A little bit of walk, cup and breathe in, breathe out, down transition with a little bit more knee pressure, breathing out, lower legs go back, and I just sit here and let my horse just go into the most comfortable few steps, breathe out of sitting trot, and then right back into the walk, and in the walk you can use your shoulder to shoulder movement, process, or you can just, enjoy good medium walk if your horse is ready for that, where both hands give and take and your shoulders stay a little bit more quiet. But the sitting trot in the beginning like this, you can then expand on and say, let's say, you go a little bit longer. Breathe out and feel, okay, so that doesn't feel too bad. And then from there, once you have done that a few times in each direction, you're going to go and shorten your reins just a little bit. Go into a few steps of sitting trot, and then you might post a few steps, sit the trot, breathe out, and walk again. And that is one of the more friendly to both you and your horse's muscle system and your whole apparatus that you're trying to sync up to, find a way to say, okay, so this is sitting trot, here's posting trot. And then here is your sitting trot again, right back to walk. And so let's say that is kind of feeling good to you. And, you can, of course, then go into your longer posting trot warm up from here. And I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to show you one more thing that you can do to feel yourself the alignment that you can have with your horse better, to come into a sitting trot that is a little bit more, sort of really like a feel-good position for both of you. So let's just say you're in the posting trot as I am right now, and my upper body is a little bit in front of the vertical. So I'm going to go even farther and really far forward and just kind of almost crouch forward downward. My hands are wide and low, almost like side reins on my horse. And from this crouchy lower, position with my upper body, I'm slowly going to come back very slowly, gradually up to the actual vertical. So I'm going to post exactly as vertical as I can in this very slow measured trot. And from here, I'm going to sit very, very lightly and gently into my sitting trot for a few steps, right? And then you go back again from here into your posting trot and stay at the vertical at first, maybe a slight little bit forward. Then you're going to go crouch. Try not to make yourself too round in your back. Keep your chin up as you're leaning forward. But what this does is you're going to feel your legs and your seat muscles filling up with positive tension. You can only do this when you're having a positive tension in your lower legs, in your seat muscles, in your thighs a little bit. And then you're going to slowly rise up and come back to a more vertical posting trot. Very gently, sitting down very, very gently. There's no thrusting. Very lightly. And then you're going to sit from here and find that sweet spot. Come here, good girl. And she's wondering what I'm doing here. And you might find that your horses might not, stay quite as rhythmic as you would like them to do, but do this a little bit more often and you will get used to it. Your horse will get used to it. And then you have suddenly a nice, easy-going sitting trot. I'm going to go take her into a walk here. But this is sort of one way or two ways, one out of the walk transitions on the longer rein. A few steps of sitting trot, back to walk, or like I just showed you, coming from this very measured posting trot, where you're leaning forward a little bit and you're slowly coming back to the vertical. And you're sitting and you're feeling your horse's back quite differently underneath your own seat muscles and nerve endings than if you just go, post and post and post around and around. And then suddenly, your back isn't really warmed up from posting trot very much. Somebody says, sit the trot and do this or do that. And you're now in a much tighter, more tense, position with your middle because it's not quite ready to swing. Your hips aren't ready to open up. Your psoas muscles and your core muscles aren't ready to, absorb that wave motion that the trot makes you, be part of. And then you have to kind of suddenly come from a place of tension and warm yourself up, which to me is counterproductive because ideally you want to be warming up with your horse in sync the whole time, right? And then you can go from there and then you can, do your other work that you'd planned for that day. Anyway, that's just food for thought. Thought this would be maybe helpful and inspiring to you. I hope it is. Lots of talking again, but thanks for watching and happy riding. Thank you, Billy. Good girl.